investing money. This is where you get rich, folks. Okay, nobody's going to tell you you're ever going to get rich just earning money. It's when you expend the money. By definition, invest means to expend with the expectation of achieving a profit or material result by putting into a financial scheme. That's by definition, by the way, share or property, or by using it to develop commercial venture. I'm going to go over all these and talk to you about what that means. Financial scheme. What is a scheme? What is a financial scheme? Okay, things like the stock market, mutual funds, bonds, art, business. Those are schemes. Me starting a company, I go, panhandling is a scheme, okay? Begging is a scheme. Sales is a scheme. Like anything could be a scheme. Advertising is a scheme. Let me just look that word up for you, okay? Just so we understand what that is, so that you understand it doesn't necessarily mean you're ripping somebody off, okay? Now, you could be ripped off in a scheme, and the reason you would be a large-scale systematic plan or arrangement for attaining some particular object or putting a particular idea into effect. Now, how many of you out there thought scheme was negative? It actually means something very, very positive. Scheme could also be a public housing complex, okay? And it comes from the word unfavorable notion. Plot arose, a scheme arose, okay? The scheme to replace the king. But not all schemes are bad, okay? Now, it would be a bad investment or scheme if you don't know what you're doing. Now, there's basically, when you make an investment, okay? When you make an investment, and I don't know everything there is to know about investments, and there's a lot to learn about this space, but I know this. If it's simple and I can wrap my head around it, I'm good. If I cannot understand it, I will not touch that thing. So I want you to keep that in mind, number one. Number two, so when I look at what an investment is, I'm looking at basically three possibilities on investment. One is a big bang. I'm just going to keep the language simple. A big bang, okay? An explosion out the back end, if you will. Number one. Number two is a dividend, okay? A dividend or cash flow or an inflow because I made an investment. I invest in the real estate and I get $100 every month. That would be considered a dividend on my $10,000. I earn $1,200 a year on that. That's a dividend. Or I could get both. Okay, now there's a lot of ways to do this. There's a lot of ways to do this investment thing. I will tell you on all of these, whether it's the big bang, the dividend, or both, and by the way, I'm always looking for number three. I'm looking for both. I like both the best. I like the flow because I'm basically an insecure financial person. I like to see a little drip. I like to see a little nibble on my fishing line, which means a little income every month with the chance that I catch a big one. You get it? Okay? Now, when I make an investment, there's a couple of criteria for me. Number one, it has to be a sure thing. This is not a maybe for me. This is not a possibility. This is a sure thing for sure. It's a for sure thing, okay? Number two, I need to know what I'm doing. If you don't know what you're doing, if you don't know for sure this is a great thing to do, then you shouldn't do it. And it needs to be simple. It needs to be very, very simple. If I can't explain it to another, I don't understand it myself, okay? So these are the criteria. Know what you're doing. Keep it simple. Be able to explain it to another. If you can't explain the business to another, you don't understand it yourself. And the last one is, be sure that it can't ever be destroyed. What I mean is, it can't be disrupted, all right? Now, Warren Buffett says, the great Warren Buffett, who studied, by the way, some of the great investors of all time. Warren Buffett says, number one, never lose money. Number two, never forget. Warren Buffett, the great investor, the oracle of investing. Warren Buffett says, number one, never lose money. And number two, never forget rule number one. Okay, never lose money. So when I make investments, okay, I want to make sure I understand it. It's simple. I can communicate it to another. It can't be disrupted no matter what. You understand what disrupted means? This computer will be disrupted. It's been disrupted many, many times already, all right? There'll be another piece of technology, or how about this? No technology, no hardware that will replace this. You get it? If you study Buffett, you're going to see how important income is to him. Remember what I talked about, okay? I talked about the big bang. Everybody wants a big bang, right? I want dividends. Dividends are income, okay? It's a dividend. Now, how important is the dividend? And then there's both. How important are dividends to a guy like Buffett? Well, I'll just tell you this, okay? Buffett's dividends are so important. His income. Now, this is one of the richest people on planet Earth. Income is so important to him. Not only does he invest mostly in companies that have income, he does not pay income back to his shareholders. This is a phenomenal thing that people don't understand about him, okay? So some of his biggest holdings, if you look at his biggest holdings, things like Coca-Cola, he owns 9.2% of Coca-Cola. This is a multi-billion-dollar business. Deere, Walmart, Wells Fargo, Kraft Heinz, Apple, Procter & Gamble, American Express. What do those companies have in common? Let's go back over the list, okay? Coca-Cola, I drink it. Heinz ketchup, I squeeze it on the hamburgers, okay? He's watching people every day squeeze a little packet out. Apple computer, it's not this hardware like Steve Jobs built that people are buying today for Apple. It's the iTunes account, okay? It's the iTunes TV. It's people consuming content now every day. Procter & Gamble, he owns 2%. American Express. Credit cards. I'm using a credit card. I pay a fee to American Express to use a card to collect my money or to pay money. Mostly American Express makes money on people like me. They don't make money on you, on the merchant. On my inability to collect money, American Express allows me to have this thing called a merchant account. He owns 14.5% of American Express. All those stocks that I just suggested, including a much longer list, pay what's called a dividend. Okay, anywhere from 1.5 to 3.5 to 4%. So the investment still pays a drip. Now, what's this about? I've been talking to you today about create income, increase income. He buys a stock, he creates a new income flow, right? Creates income. He starts his first company. He takes that company, he manages that company. No investment is better than a company that you can increase the income of that company. No investment is better than your own company where you can increase the income of it. Then you take it and save the money to do what? Make an investment. I make an investment to create another flow of income. You get it? So I create multiple flows of income by getting a second company or by making an investment. Typically, we're going to be over here now. Early on, this should be what? This should be second and third flows connected, symbiotic to your company. You shouldn't be making investments here, not at this point. You should be waiting until you got 100 grand, okay? So let's say I invested 100,000 over here. I got my first 100 grand. What do I need to do with that 100? Keep it simple. You need to be able to explain it to me. It needs to be a sure thing. For sure, you're never going to lose money. Warren says never lose money. Rule number 2, rule number 1. Never lose money. You need control. You need to understand it. You need to know that there's no downside. I can't lose it. It's a sure thing. I don't want to bet. If I want to bet, I go to a casino. I want this to be guaranteed. And I want to have a big bang with a dividend. Okay, so let's say I could get this to earn $12,000 a year. That'd be a fair return. That's the kind of return I'm looking for. Anywhere between 8, 10, 12, 15, 25%. I have investments I've made that pay me 30 and 35%. I have some investments that I don't have any money in. Literally, things that I have bought, paid off, or have fully debted. That means I have all debt. I have no money, personal money into the deal. I can literally walk away from the deal with no liability. I would be under no kind of legal obligation to pay this thing back, and it still pays me money every month. Imagine getting $400 a month on an investment you had no money in, or $4,000 a month, or $40,000 a month, or let time build that up. See, this is how you get rich ultimately. But to do this, you need to be extremely disciplined through this process. Extremely disciplined, extremely focused, so that you can be this guy over here, or gal, that says, I'm going for a big play. I want a dividend, I want a drip, I want to be paid while I wait for the bang, so I get both. This woman once told me, she's like, you want your cake and eat it too. Okay, a seller of a property. You want your cake and eat it too. I was selling one of my deals to somebody. You want your cake and eat it too? I'm like, yes, I do. Okay, why else would I make a cake if I don't want to eat it too? See, you can have everything, but you've got to be, and I hate this word, you have to be patient. Probably a better word is be disciplined. Extremely disciplined. But to do this, again, you need money, okay? There's no reason to invest $1,000. $1,000 gets you a drip at a big bang. How big's the bang gonna be? Okay, if it goes up 500 times, you're never gonna do that again. What you're gonna do here, you need to be able to duplicate, okay? Everybody's looking for the big bang on $1,000. How big's it gotta be? It's gonna have to be enormous for the $1,000 to pay off, and that means you were lucky. And if you're lucky, you can't do it a second time. The wealth that I'm helping people create, they can do a second time, a third time, a fourth time, a fifth time, in a down market, an expansive, explosive market, in a terrible market, in a monster recession. I've made money in every cycle using this formula, okay? So when you make this investment, remember what we want to do. I'm long-term and short-term. I handle all the downside. I cannot be destroyed no matter what. The world could come to an end, and I would still be standing there. Those are the kind of investments you want, okay? Will this computer be here? No. This is not something I would invest in. Will iTunes be here? Yes, okay? Will this phone be here? No, this phone won't be here. Would that apartment building that you live in right now still be here 10 years from now, 20 years from now, 30 years from now? I guarantee you it'll still be here. No technology, no app is going to replace the roof over your head. It'll look different maybe, but over the years, that has not changed much, while this has changed a great deal, okay? So in summary, what are you looking for here? You're not making any investments till you have 100. The play's not going to be big enough. You don't need to be in a hurry. Anybody that wants you to invest now, before you have enough money, does not have good intentions. They just want your money. Okay, so I'm just telling you, just hold off right here. Take the time. If you're at 20 grand right now, okay, and you don't have 100, take this time to accumulate. Build your first flow. Stay in this part of your wheel, okay? Keep focused here. Keep improving yourself. You got 20 grand, spend it on you. That's a guaranteed thing. The return could be 100 times, 1,000 times. When I invest in me, I always get a return. When I invest in a company, yeah, maybe, but typically it takes a lot longer, right? So let's say I go invest in a gym. I go invest money in a gym. The return on that gym is going to be a lot longer than me going to the gym and working out my own body. You get it? I go to the gym, I work out my own chest, work out my own biceps, run for 30 minutes. I'll have an immediate result. If I invest my money in a gym, the return on that money is going to take a lot longer than me investing directly in myself. So the more distance you put between you and an investment, and that's why we said right here, dude, think about 3 feet, okay? And then think about 12 feet around you to invest. Until you get to this part of the wheel, you got enough money put away. How many investments you going to make with that 100? The old saying, the old belief, your mommy and daddy said, diversify, put that in 8 deals, put it in 8 baskets. It's not true, okay? The wealthiest people on this planet would say, no, put it in 1 basket, man. The 1 basket that you know is going to pay off. Protect the basket. Put security around the basket, okay? Feed the basket, love the basket. Make sure that deal works, okay? Now, that's what I've done in my life, okay? I'm going to show you in the next video. I'm going to show you in the next segment what I've actually done over 30 years to just keep this simple, real simple. Like anybody that works with me knows my life is simple. It's not that complicated. I do a lot of stuff, but it's always kind of the same stuff. Technology changes how I might deliver it, but it doesn't change how I'm getting paid to do that activity, all right? So what are you looking for? A big bang and a dividend. You could have 7 or 8 flows right now. You could have 50. You could have 100. You could have 700 different flows. It should be simple. It should be duplicatable. It should be explainable. And, hey, you don't want to be disrupted. And by the way, if anybody's going to disrupt any of these investments, you need to be the one doing the disrupting.